Hey, Steve over at TronicsFix is in the middle of a project and decided to hand this over to me for cleaning, so I'm going to take it apart and we're going to see what we're dealing with. This sticker here needs to come at least halfway off in order to access a couple of screws underneath here. So we're just going to warm it up with this hair dryer, carefully pull it back. Now that I have it this far, I'm thinking I'll probably just take this entire sticker off to just keep it safe while we're doing the clean. There we go. These Series X Xboxes have a ton of screws and kind of a complicated, but I think pretty cool disassembly process. Getting our first look inside of here, and it is really dusty. This must have been used in a very dirty environment, but it looks like just dust, like we're not dealing with anything else like a bug infestation. I like the little Master Chief logo on the outside of this. Got to push in a clip here, and then we can rotate this frisbee on the back and pull it off. I'm following along on iFixit's guide for disassembly here to hopefully know which screws and what order to take everything apart here. I'm going to go ahead and take that little clip out. Carefully wiggling back and forth on any of these plugs to pull them out without damaging the cord. Want to make sure to trip the gates on any ribbon cables before yanking them out. And we got to push in on one here before we pull it up. A little bit of Kapton tape here that we can replace. We'll just slide this over and we should be able to lift the unit out of the shell now. Now I've heard of dust bunnies, but I think this is like a dust grizzly bear. I've never seen one this size. And here's the mama bear's cub. We're going to take everything out of here so that we can make the cleaning process all that much easier. Let's warm up. Okay, so physics, air, movement. Didn't think about that. And we'll just release that without the heat. Now that I can breathe again in here. Those aren't screws, they're like welded little plastic nubs, but I wanted to see them. From a future editing perspective, I realized I could have taken this screw out and removed this entire assembly without having to work inside of the machine. And there we go. Let's move on to the rest of this. We have this safety belt holding it all together here. That's a longer screw there, want to note that. Want to unfasten that clip to release the cord here. There's a little metal clip on the side that's just kind of bracing everything together. More screws. A little bit longer one there again. This process has a lot of steps to it to remove everything here, but again, I enjoy it because it's very different from other systems and just kind of a bit of a unique teardown on this design. This is stuck a little bit, so I'm using some pliers to help wiggle it out of there gently, but firmly. It's just kind of a puzzle taking this all apart and getting it back together. I have the advantage of being able to look back over my footage to be able to remember where I put things. There's a couple clips on the side of this ribbon cable that I just need to press in here while pulling up on this tab. There we go. Quite a mess we're making already. And I'm not done. Just wanted to show the dust I'm creating in my station. There's a little bit of a housing thing that's on the outside of this fan that we can remove and move this wire around. Sorry I missed a little bit of the footage on there. You'll have to watch the reassembly to see where that wire goes. And we're just going to take the top off of this drive here and look inside, and I think that's as far as we're going to have to take it apart in order to clean it good with some air. There are little tabs that are holding this bracket that goes over top of the X bracket here. And so I'm actually bending them up slightly out of the way in order to be able to remove this. And we'll just bend them back straight into place in order to latch this back down when we're done. Just gonna start here with this part of the shell, kind of rotate it around in here and use our paintbrush. I just noticed this little piece floating around in here. I'm not sure where it goes, but we'll figure it out afterwards. This entire clean is really satisfying because it's super dusty and easy to clean, and you can see a visible difference very easily. So pretty fun, pretty satisfying. This is one rare instance where I am grateful for Steve for sending me something to clean. Usually when he sends me something like this, it's for some ridiculously gross, long process of cleaning. And I don't think I have any more pieces hiding in that muddy water. I'm gonna have to ask your forgiveness for my off-screen work a little bit here. It was a little bit of a different setup for me trying this outdoors in an area where I didn't mind putting a bunch of dust. Obviously I just have my air compressor here, and I'm using that for most of the clean on this stuff because I mean, I could use cotton swabs and IPA and that would just create a muddy mess, constantly trying to wipe it away. But having an air compressor that I can just blow this dust off, super easy. And again, I don't know if this is going to show up on film as well as it does in person, but it looks brand new practically just after putting this air on here. I do want to carefully get on the inside of this disk drive, any place that dust could have built up, so we'll just take our time on this last piece here and make sure that we have it good and de-dusted. I think we're about done. Let's get back to the other stuff we need to take care of. I am going to use a little bit of my IPA and my cotton swabs to remove this thermal paste. I wouldn't normally go for the IPA just to wipe this away here, but it's really hardened and caked in there and I want to get as much of it out as possible. I also used my toothbrush in here and wasn't able to get all of it, but we got enough of it for me to feel good about putting fresh thermal paste in there. Get a little bit of this dust off of this putty here as well. Now we can just use our cotton swab to remove the thermal paste from the underside of this. We'll be replacing all of this with fresh thermal paste. I want to use a makeup brush here to finish the kind of shine clean on this fan and get the rest of this dust that we didn't get with the air compressor. And I think between these two things, we're going to get this thing looking pretty good. A nice beefy fan. All right, I think we're going to start getting everything put back together, which includes putting our thermal paste on. Steve, I know you're watching this. I need you to give me a score. I know it wasn't perfect, but it's got to be close, right? Just gonna take my time going around, turning a little bit at a time on each one of these screws to fasten this clamp down evenly on that paste. And it should spread over the chip in there. Just bend these tabs right back to flush with the outside, and then we should be able to latch this down on top of here, just like that. I removed the bottom of this just to check inside of there to see that it was clean, and it was. So we'll put this all back together now. And here's where we need to see where this wire goes. Just wrap it around and through all of these little guide paths, and I think we have it in the right spot. We're going to wrap this about halfway around for now, and then we'll finish the job when it's all together. Got a couple of our longer screws here that we want to note, and then a nice short one up here. A bunch more short ones around the outside. I always recommend keeping track of your screws, following along with a guide, or at least taking pictures with your phone or something while you're working so that you can remember where everything goes step by step. And we can complete that now. We have this little piece that was floating in the water, and it goes right down here. Let's put this together from the outside this time. Got a little springy mechanism, and that sits right down there on that spring. We can tighten it from the outside, and then plug in our cables, and they are still sticky from the epoxy on them, that we can just push them right on there. Now this unit is going to sit down and then push over to our right. Again, I'm going to replace this Kapton tape here, so just cut myself a little bit of that. Unless yours is really dirty or bad, you can probably reuse what was on there. There are some posts there that we need to get into some holding areas down below, so make sure that's lined up correctly and inside of the places that are designed to hold it in place. And now with this clamp kind of on top here, if it's in the right spot, which we're just making sure of here, then it should hold that disk drive in a little bit of a flexible state, but securely inside of there. Our frisbee on and twist on. Make sure Master Chief is looking at us. And then that is in there flush and secure. I'm going to use my pliers to help push that cable in. We're ready to clip the back of the housing on here. And there we go. Just a few more screws and a little bit of tape and stickers. We have our label here, which is a little bit wrinkled up over here on the left because of having to get at it and pull at it with our tweezers and pliers, but we can press that on there and it should be good to go. It's still a really good sticker with good adhesive all the way around. And hey, we're done with our project. It's not as satisfying seeing the before after like this, but it does show you how it went from dirty to not dirty. That's going to wrap up my portion of this project. Be sure to check out Steve's video at TronicsFix if you haven't seen all of it yet today. I don't even know if this thing is working. That's Steve's job. If you want to hang out with me more, YouTube's going to recommend another video from Restorish. Otherwise, I think I'm done today and we'll see you next time.